I'm back to do another chapter from my book, Iron Sharpens Iron. And I'm so grateful that you guys are here to share it with me. So, here we go. Chapter 3, the argument, who ministers to the minister. Yes, I'm going to just get right into it. So it says, while today the government is now being challenged to correct this matter, as it affects the judicial department, I cannot ignore the fact that there are many news reports of others who are also being exposed for abusing their authority. I have read of reports of abuse from big business to the educational system and even parental abuses. Yet the last thing that I expected was to be reminded that the church has these very same issues also. Not the church, too. My heart spoke as I read the breaking news headlines that a pastor was being charged with 5 counts of criminal activity that occurred during a protest. I don't know why I was surprised at the reports, yet I feel that having this same core root behavior exposed in the church adds insult to injury. I realize now that this is what I was being shown when I was made to look away from King David, who represents the government, and instead have my attention directed to the sons of Eli, who represents the church. No matter where this behavior is showing up, it needs to be understood that any abuse of authority is not acceptable at all. So what do we do about this? Who ministers to the minister? Through the recent protesting, society has been demanding retribution from those who are clearly guilty of the abuse. It is demanded that systems are put into place that will make it clear that having a position of authority does not place one above the law. We are all accountable for being obedient to the law. Yet some have thought otherwise. Some have felt that their positions exempted them from correction. Is that true? This consideration of how God dealt with his own people as it pertains to this issue of abuse of authority should help us to understand what the truth is in this matter. Looking again at the priesthood, we need to keep in mind that God did say at Numbers chapter 18, verse 1, that the priests were to take care of the priesthood. This means that a fellow priest was to correct, counsel, reprimand, reprove, when necessary, another priest, pastor. Let's go back to the story of Eli and see if this instruction to correct was applied. 1 Samuel chapter 2 verses 22 through 25 tells us that Eli attempted to warn his sons, but they would not listen to the voice, catch this now, of their father. What this says to me is that Eli approached them as a father speaking to a child on a personal level when he should have addressed them on a business level as a high priest speaking to the priests. I can hear them now disregarding their father because of their titles. I'm a priest. I am anointed to do X, Y, Z. You can't judge me. Only God can judge me. And I'm still a priest. God's word does say at Proverbs chapter 29, verse 1, that a man who is repeatedly warned but chooses to ignore those warnings will be broken and without healing. Yet before I lose focus, let me go back to Eli's story in 1 Samuel. By the way, the book of 1 Samuel is about the young boy who ended up living in Eli's house and what happened to him, which is the key to why we're told about Eli and his sons. Amos chapter 3, verse 7, NIV. Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets. Wonder what That's next. Chapter 4 is next. And that chapter is the tort, which is deliberate sins. I'm going to do one more. I'll be back. I'll be back with chapter 4. This is Iron Sharpens Iron, a book that I wrote I published this in 2020, y'all. 2020, Iron Sharpens Iron. See you for the next reading. Bye.